Welcome to ArchiCAD 16. This is our first in our series for this program. We're simply going to walk you through the interface today. Now, we've started it. This is an educational version because, like I said, this is for students to learn. So we're looking at this. The first thing you notice is it pops up this gray window that says Welcome to ArchiCAD Educational Version. It gives you your license agreement information. We simply click on that and it bypasses it. Gets us to the startup wizard. Now, we're starting a new project today, so we're not going to do anything. We do have one that's floating around in there that we will not be worrying about right now. But the first thing we need to do is make sure we focus on a couple things. First off, we're going to create a new project today. We're going to use the basic default template, and one thing we want to make sure we always do is go to the setup work environment, and we always use the default. This is very important to us later on because if you don't, it uses whatever the last profile was, and you don't always know who was there before you, and it may be messed up. So we simply click on that and wait for it to load its library and other parts. So as it's doing that, let's take a look at the interface for just a moment. It's a very simple, straightforward interface. Now, our drawing area is noted here in the middle of our screen. It's the gridded area where we draw. On our right-hand side and our left-hand side, we have toolbars, and we have navigator bars, and etc. Now, let's go over here to our toolbox. Our toolbox is on the left side of our screen. Our toolbox contains our arrow tool, which is used for all editing process, and our marquee. In my drawing techniques, I really don't use the marquee that much. We have walls, doors, windows. Everything is parametric, and as we draw those things, we actually have to use the right tool to draw it. I'm going to minimize that one down so we can flop up and get our document tools up. Our document tools show us how to dimension, levels, text, labels, etc. Sections, elevations, those things show up in there. Now, let's minimize that one down and pull up the more. The more has things like grid elevations, wall ends, corner windows, lamps, etc., camera placements. We don't use that much at the beginning, but we do use it a lot later. So I'm simply going to go in here and I'm going to open up my design tools. Now across the top, you'll notice our basic design window right here, it changes depending on which tool I select. It also is interactive. I can slide it over and back. We're not going to worry about it for a few minutes other than to acknowledge its existence. Our standard toolbar at the top has our measuring tools, our snap tools, those kinds of things on it. We shouldn't have to mess too much with it right now. The biggest things we have to worry about is, like I said, our toolbox and our navigator window. Our navigator window over here controls our views. Our navigator over here shows that we have our first floor selected. That's where we're drawing right now. We do have a second floor by default. If you want, you can create more floors above or below any of these. We'll show you how to do that later. We have no sectional views right now, but we do have elevations for the east, the north, the south, and the west. Those are noted by these right here. These view marks or identifying bubbles or windows, whatever you want to call them today, they're there to note that. Now, we also have a generic perspective already floating around because we do have a camera made and a generic axonal. If we go to those right now, there's nothing to see. We'll see nothing, so we're going to leave them alone. That's our basic introduction to the interface. Okay, we'll show you some tools in our next piece, so stay with us. Come back if you wish to see those.